In the crowded, restless heart of Ajegunle, where the air always carried a mix of fried plantain, dust, and loud laughter, lived a boy named Sadiq. Sadiq was 12 when he first understood that life was not the same for everyone. He lived with his mother in a one-room apartment with cracked walls that told stories of every rainy season they had survived. When it rained, they would place bowls around the room to catch the dripping water. His mother would joke about it, calling it their indoor river, and Sadiq would laugh, even though he knew it wasn't funny. His father had left when he was 5, no explanation, just absence. But his mother, Mama Sadiq, as everyone in the compound called her, became everything. She sold akara by the roadside every morning before sunrise. Sadiq would wake up to the smell of frying beans and the sound of oil sizzling like quiet applause. Sometimes he would sit beside her, still sleepy, watching her hands move quickly, expertly, shaping each ball before dropping it into the hot oil. "Life no go easy," she would say, not looking at him, "but you go survive AM, you hear?" "I hear, Mama," he would reply. And he meant it. School was both an escape and a struggle. Sadiq attended a public secondary school about a 30-minute walk from home. His uniform was always clean but faded, the blue turning almost grey from too many washes. His sandals were worn, and during the rainy season, the mud would swallow them whole if he wasn't careful. But inside the classroom, something changed. His teacher, Mr. Adebayo, noticed him early. It was the way Sadiq listened, not just hearing, but absorbing. While other students talked or slept, Sadiq's eyes stayed fixed on the board, his mind holding onto every word like it was something precious. One day after class, Mr. Adebayo called him. "Sadiq, come here." Sadiq walked slowly, unsure if he had done something wrong. "Yes, sir." "Why do you always sit at the front?" Sadiq hesitated. "So I can hear well, sir." Mr. Adebayo smiled slightly. "You hear well, or you want more?" Sadiq didn't answer. "I see you," the teacher continued. "You are hungry, not for food, but for something bigger. Don't lose that." From that day, things changed. Mr. Adebayo began to give him extra books, old, sometimes torn, but full of knowledge. He would explain things after school, even when he was tired. "Education is your way out," he told him. "Not the only way, but your way." Sadiq held onto those words like a lifeline. But life outside school didn't wait for dreams. The ghetto had its own rhythm, its own rules. Sadiq's friends were part of that rhythm. There was Tund, loud and fearless, who could make anyone laugh even on their worst day. There was Emeka, quiet but sharp, always thinking 3 steps ahead. And there was Kemi, the only girl in their tight circle, who didn't tolerate nonsense from anyone. They grew up together, running through narrow streets, playing football with makeshift balls, dodging angry neighbors and laughing until their stomachs hurt. But as they got older, the streets started asking questions. Tun's older brother joined a gang. Emeka's cousin started making fast money in ways no one talked about openly. Kemi almost dropped out of school because her parents couldn't afford the fees. The pressure was everywhere. One evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky orange, Tund brought it up. "There's one guy," he said, kicking a stone. "He said he can help us make money, real money." Sadiq frowned. "Doing what?" Tund shrugged. "Small runs, deliveries, nothing big." Emeka looked away. Kemi crossed her arms. "And you trust him?" she asked. Tund hesitated. "People are doing it, they're okay." Sadiq felt something tighten in his chest. He thought of his mother's tired hands. He thought of Mr. Adebayo's voice. He thought of the future he couldn't fully see yet, but believed in. "No," Sadiq said quietly. Tund looked at him. "No. No, that's not our path." Tund laughed, but it wasn't his usual laugh. "Our path, since when you become pastor." Sadiq didn't respond. Kemi stepped in. "He's right." Emeka nodded slowly. Tund kicked the stone harder this time. "You people think life is a joke." "No," Sadiq said, "we know it's not." Silence settled between them. That night, Sadiq couldn't sleep. He knew choices were coming, and not all of them would be easy. On Sundays, Sadiq went to church with his mother. The building was small, with wooden benches and a roof that creaked when the wind blew, but inside, it felt bigger than the world outside. The pastor, Pastor Daniel, was a tall man with a calm voice that somehow carried strength. He knew Sadiq by name. After service one day, he called him. "Sadiq, how are you?" "I'm fine, sir." "You don't look fine." Sadiq hesitated, then spoke. He talked about the pressure, about Tund, about the fear of making the wrong choices. Pastor Daniel listened carefully. "Let me tell you something," he said finally. "Your environment can shape you, but it does not have to define you." Sadiq nodded, though he wasn't sure he fully understood. "You have people who believe in you," the pastor continued. "Your mother, your teacher, your friends, even the ones who are confused right now. Don't take that lightly." He placed a hand on Sadiq's shoulder. "You will face moments where the easy path looks better, but easy is not always right, and right is not always easy." Those words stayed with Sadiq. Time moved as it always does. There were days of hunger when dinner was just Gary and water. Days when his mother came home exhausted, her smile thinner than usual. Days when school felt too far, dreams too distant. But there were also moments of light. Like when Mr. Adebayo announced that Sadiq had the highest score in the class. Or when Kemi managed to stay in school because the community contributed money for her fees. Or when Tund, after weeks of distance, showed up one evening and sat quietly beside them. "I didn't do it," he said. Sadiq looked at him. "Do what?" "The runs," Tund sighed. "Something didn't feel right." Kemi smirked. "Finally, your brain is working." They laughed. And just like that, something fragile but important held. Years passed. Sadiq grew taller, stronger, not just in body but in spirit. He continued to study, pushing through every obstacle. His mother never stopped believing in him. Mr. Adebayo never stopped guiding him. Pastor Daniel never stopped reminding him of who he could become. And his friends, though they stumbled, though they struggled, never let go of each other. One day, Sadiq received a letter. He opened it with trembling hands. It was an admission letter to a university. For a moment, he couldn't breathe. His mother cried when she saw it, pulling him into a tight embrace. "You did it," she whispered. "No," Sadiq said softly, "we did it." On his last evening before leaving Ajegunle, Sadiq stood with his friends in their usual spot. The same narrow street, the same fading sunlight. But everything felt different. "You won't forget us, Abai," Tund said, trying to sound joking. Sadiq smiled, "Never." Kemi nodded, "You better not." Emeka added quietly, "Make us proud." Sadiq looked at them, really looked. At the people who had stood beside him when life could have pulled him in another direction. "I will," he said, "but we all will." As he walked away the next morning, bag slung over his shoulder, Sadiq carried more than just his belongings. He carried his mother's strength, his teacher's belief, his pastor's wisdom, and his friends' unwavering support. The ghetto had raised him, but it had not limited him. Because in the middle of hardship, he had found something stronger than circumstance. Love. And sometimes that is what saves a life.